are guided by codes, and also definitely from time to time we engage in programs for development and the rest like that. So my question now is, now that we have, will I call it a game changer or a new um, phenomenon in the picture, which is sustainability? How are we embedding this into our standards, into our codes, and into professional development when you look at Nigerian Society of Engineers? Because it's a game changer. It's no longer what we used to do as usual. And engineers, codes needs to be reviewed, standard needs to be reviewed in a full picture. So how do we work around that?
Thank you. Thank you very much for the question. Like engineers work with code by default. So we have building code, we have energy code, we have water code, even some environmental code. So anything we do by default is based on code. So our O as an engineer is to drive compliance, to make sure that engineers is not just copy and paste. Because I have designed it before, let me just replicate it like this. No, you must follow it. That is why when you design, a young engineer as a designer must submit his project to a senior engineer to verify. So the senior engineer will verify before that senior engineer will now append that's his own official stamp into that drawing. So even Nigeria Society of Engineers, we have a unit called Code as in Nigeria Society of Engineers. So that division monitored the compliance of all the available codes and continual review, because most of the codes sometimes they get old, but we keep on reviewing it. I think GIZ and the Ministry of Housing last time they developed another code for building energy efficiency code, which is what we are currently using. And I'm also a team member of those who are designing the code for water system. And also, we are also compiling some related code in terms of an environment, because I'm an environmental engineer, I'm a water engineer, I'm also a civil engineer. So those are the key components of green building. So we have this code, and the Nigeria Society of Engineers also drive continual professional development, which is a form of trainings that members are mandated. I think they train a lot of people recently on that. And recently, the president of the Nigeria Society of Engineers also initiated another group they call the Climate Change and Green Transformation. So I'm also a member of that team. So that is how we keep on doing it, and we are sensitizing our members. I'm an edge faculty, so we have also trained for free so that they will have awareness of green buildings. So we are really working on that.
Thank you very much, sir. Before we continue, the owner of this number YAB967DG, it's a Benz formatic. Please, your attention is needed probably to repark or something. It's an emergency. Please, I call the number again, YAB967DG, Abuja. That's an Abuja plate number, Benz formatic. Please, your attention is needed urgently. So, quantity surveyor. If you look through the climate change action, we have a target as a country, and some of these targets, I'll just briefly highlight them. We are looking at 20% reduction in greenhouse gas emission. That's unconditional. That's where there's no condition attached to it. We must with that, and if we have probably a form of support, probably from in funding and the rest, we are looking at increasing that percentage to 47% greenhouse gas emission. That's all this we are looking to achieve them in 2030. Then when we talk of methane from oil and gas, we want to reduce as much as 60% reduction in methane emission in 2031. We look at also looking at achieving net zero in 2060. All these are our Nigerian climate targets. If you look at the system, what are some of the institutional or systemic or regulatory gaps currently hindering sustainability in light of these goals? What are some of the challenges we face as an institution and as a country?
Well, one of the ones that comes to focus immediately is capacity. Most professionals in the built environment don't even have the capacity yet to be able to do anything as it pertains to sustainable and resilient construction projects. And we are, as an institute, we are in the vanguard of ensuring that we help our members, acquire the skills, because if you don't know the language, you may not be able to speak it. So we are in the vanguard of trying to get our members acquire the appropriate skills, and we are also trying to engage with other stakeholders who are already in the business of the sustainable and resilient construction project like the Green Building Council that are in the vanguard of it. And we are also trying to get ourselves acquainted with, I think, the Climate, the Climate Act and the master plan, the Renewable Energy Master Plan. As an institute, we are making sure that we continue to, get our members obtain the appropriate skill by way of continuing professional development, trying to do what we call sustainability focused training, where our members will, obtain the right skills, and if we get them to obtain the right skills, there will be a proper player that can advance the cause of sustainability and resilient construction projects in Nigeria.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So we are talking about capacity building. So we need to build more capacity in these regards. Otherwise, this target will be difficult to accomplish. So, Architect Sonny, very important in the center of achieving sustainability is building code. So, as an institution, how have you been able to influence, or how do you intend to influence building codes? Because building code is not something that just has to do with you as an institution. It involves the government. It's a collective effort. So how do you think architects or generally professionals should be influencing the building code? Is there collaboration technique? How do you relate with governments to implement building codes, to adjust building codes? So in that light, can you enlighten us?
Thank you very much. As an institute, I would want to inform you that the Nigerian Institute of Architects, as well as the Architects Registration Council of Nigeria, which is the regulatory arm of the profession, have been at the forefront on the establishment of the building code in Nigeria. For the past couple of years, the Institute and the regulatory body, like I mentioned earlier, saw to the compilation and to the setting up of what we have, the building code. Currently, there is a committee that is also chaired by an architect who was a past president of the Nigerian Institute of Architects in the person of Architect Jimo Fauraja. It's a committee that was set up by the Federal Ministry of Housing to to look at ways in which the state governments, the local governments will also be able to domesticate and adopt for usage within the localities. We are working on developing an app, an application that can be used by all professionals for all our upcoming projects to make sure that there is compliance with the contents of the code. So Nigerian Institute of Architects is at the forefront advocating for the domestication and implementation of the building code, which eventually will stem the tide of the incessant building collapse that we experience in the country.
Okay,
most
so a
times.
quick one. Do you have challenges with government institutions in collaborating with you when it comes to, or you collaborating with them?
Yes, and largely it is as a result of lack of awareness. Government and the government bureaucracy tends to look at these ideas as an additional burden when it comes to making buildings accessible to end users and what have you. But we are doing a lot of positive strides toward sensitizing
Okay.
the various government, that is state and local, to understand that the codes are not a restriction to availability of houses. No, they are just there to ensure the safety of the
People.
erection of the buildings, the environment,
Yes.
the properties, and what have you.
Thank you very much, sir. While we put our questions, get ready our questions, I would like Dr. Olumide to help us address the issue of innovations. I know you are, when it comes to smart technology, sorry, help me pass the mic to him. You would understand that looking from your background. So can you highlight some ongoing initiatives that's been helping to promote green innovation, probably capacity building, and mainstreaming sustainable practices? Do you know of any initiatives that's currently ongoing, or can you propose initiatives, probably as for institutions, for governments, to help drive and promote sustainability?
Okay, thank you. So before I respond to that question, I'd like to just add a little layer to what the architect just said. Unfortunately, if you look at the Nigerian building code, one of the most important professions is missing in that code, and they are the facility managers. It's strange, very strange. The architects will design, they'll conceptualize, work with the clients. The engineers will work with the architects, they'll build, the architect will project manage. The quantity surveyor, the cost experts will look at cost and everything. Who is going to manage this project? Who? The facility managers, and they are conspicuously missing. So I'm not shocked why we have collapsed buildings, we'll have buildings that are not sustainable, because we are not there. We are the doctors of buildings, whether you like it or not. We are well trained to manage the building during the operational stage. You see, from research, only 5% of the whole life costs of building is spent in design. The remaining 90 to 95% is spent throughout the lifespan of the building. So I don't know why most times they just sweep us aside, the developers sweep us aside, the engineers sweep us aside. We are the most important. If you want to achieve anything about sustainability, is the facility managers. So that being said, yes. So in terms of innovation, we are actually working towards creating a system whereby we can achieve circular economy. As facility managers, we do, use a lot of items, a lot of assets, cooling systems, so many things that we use in managing, in the continuous management of buildings. Exactly.
Automation.
So we want to create a system whereby all facility managers can link up. If you have some item, maybe a generator that I've been using for the past, let's say 10 years, you want to replace due to any reason, instead of taking it to the scrap guys, you can bring it to the center, cannibalize one or two spares that another facility manager can use, thereby creating a stream of sustainable process that is not just going to end in a junkyard, creating environmental concerns, but it will be in the mainstream whereby another facility manager can take advantage of those spares and use them to also continuously have certain value. For example, you have a 2 horsepower AC that's been using for 10 years, maybe the condenser or the compressor is not good. and your clients will tell you, oh, it's even R22 gas. Let's use the R10, and they abandon that AC. The indoor unit, the expansion valve can still be reused. So bringing to the center through a platform which we are working on helps another facility manager to pick up that expansion valve, to pick up that indoor unit and reuse. So we'll continue to create that cycle, that system that can help us to also grow and also reduce our operational costs. So another key area that we professionals, we need to really work on capacity building, and I agree with Dr. Ibiki and the president of NIQS also. Capacity building is very, very important. We need to have an handshake. We've been working in silos for a long time. We've been working in silos, and we've been fighting. The developers have been fighting us seriously that he who builds should manage. That's the whole idea. They've been fighting us seriously, and that's a major concern for us. See, if you are a professional facility manager, go ahead and manage. But if you are not, you don't have any business in managing building, because you are just going to make a mess of the whole thing. Your client's investment will be a mess, and you see a lot of real estate companies, building estate, they just want to force themselves to manage by force when you don't have the requisite, expertise. And that's why capacity building is very, very important. We can have an handshake. I did a professional course with GBCN, CCAP. I think it's a partnership between NIQS and GBCN. That's a very good example, a layer whereby we can start from. So we can have a partnership collaboration with facility managers and the Nigerian side of engineers, even with the architects. I'm even meaning to meet with the president one day to tell her that we need to have a handshake. We have to. Because if you look at the architects, it's like a cult. It's like a cult that they've created. No, it's a good thing. I'm saying this from the positive side. If you go and meet an architect, and you tell him about certain things you want to do, if it's not within their practice, if it's outside their ethos, they will not do it. If you go and meet the next architect, they will tell you the same thing the architect A told you. And if you can do that in the built environment also, you see that we raise the bar in terms of standardization, in terms of capacity building. We have to move. Me, personally, I am tired of working in, sincerely. My past president is there, Mr. Paul Eribami. I just told him, I said, I'm tired of working in silo. We've been talking about scratching this surface. This surface that we have been scratching all these years.
It has not been scratching.
It has not. We need to move. We need to reorganize expensive programs like this. And at the end of the day, it looks as if they are all just rhetorics. We need to move to applying. Let's be doers of some of the things that we are doing. It's going to change everything. It's going to make life better for us, even the upcoming generation. When I was in the bus that was bringing me here, we had just a slight conversation. Someone said, I prefer to go back to that old generation where there is no phone. I think I'm happy. Someone said, no, how can you survive without internet? How can you survive without data? So you see that we look at it from two sides. Yes, so we need to really critically look at some of these things that we are doing, and we have to move forward. We need to tell ourselves that we must move forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So, Sunday, Egbiki has a joiner to that question. So, let's prepare our questions shortly.
Let me quickly support Dr. Olumide. From my experience as an edge expert, I'm also an auditor, so I have audited a lot of buildings, and not even only edge, with LEED, with GBCN, German Sustainable Building Council. So what he said is really absolutely correct, like an FM. Because when we go to a building to audit a building, the first contact people we're supposed to interface with is the FM. Tell us what are the operational information about this building. So one thing we keep on saying, which I keep on saying, is that it is one thing to just certify a building. Like if I come to this building, we do everything and it's certified, it's not a green building. We live. We have certified the building as green building. Who knows what is happening after the certification? The FM will be the person in charge after the certification. If I am recommending let all the water faucet in this building should have a flow rate of 3 liter per minute, and they installed that. And what of if Olumide is now monitoring the building, another person should come and just remove all those facilities and install a new one that is now 5 liter per minute? That building will no longer be called a green building. What of if I should recommend an LD bulb that is having, let's say, 100 lumen per watt, and some of the bulbs got burnt, and they want to replace it? They are now replacing it with the one of 20 lumen per watt. That building will no longer be called a green building. What if they have a HVAC that is having a COP of 5? That is what I recommended during auditing. And now the AC is not having fault. They want to replace it. A non-facility manager will not come and install a HVAC of 2.5 COP. That building will no longer meet the requirement. So not actually certifying a building that matters, certify a building as green, but post-certification is the major constraint. So who knows? That is what we call occupant's behavior. Because we recommend, okay, the flow rate is this. What if the occupant is under the shower head and on the tap and is dancing under the shower head? So how can we follow up what is really happening? Okay, we meet the facility manager. We tell the facility manager, please give us the energy data of this building. Give us the water data of this building. If we feed all those information into our system back, we will be able to know what is happening in that building. So I think what the facility manager should do, you should change your name. Change your name to Green Facility Manager. At least that should pronounce more, more appearance to the public. You are no longer a conventional facility manager, but a green facility manager. So that anything that got damaged in the building, you should be able to recommend the appropriate one. Because LED bulb can burn, but somebody can replace it with fluorescent bulb. It will no longer meet up with the requirement. So those are the things.
Thank you very much for that insight. So developers, the facility managers are saying, let them manage your facility for you. After you build, hand it over to them for the sake of sustainability and proper monitoring. So I hope our developers will be able to buy into that, and we can well collaborate as professional bodies and build a sustainable Nigeria. So to the public, to our wonderful guests seated, anybody with questions, would like to take the questions together. So raise your hands. I can see we don't have much time on our side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. 6, 7. Can we take 7 questions? So 8. We don't have much time on our side. We have less than 20 minutes. So I would 9. We can't take 9 questions. We are told we can take only 2 questions. Okay, she has increased it to 4. 3. Okay, so we'll take 3 questions, looking at the proportion of the people. So we'll take 2 from down. We'll take 1 from up. So 2 people from down here. It will be 1. I think that lady down there has been consistently raising her hand. I'll give you the opportunity to ask. Yes, it's number 1. It's number 1. Then number 2. Then I think I will take 3. Then I'll
upstairs, whoever you're picking from upstairs,
Okay.
or let them just come out here.
So,
Okay,
sir,
please come downstairs.
if I pointed you, please, can you please, 2, lady in black.
Lady in blue. We are only going to be able to take 3 questions. Why? Because we need to go for
So,
lunch, and then
okay.
we have the breakout
So
sessions.
1, we've been limited to 3. 1,
Please.
2, then 3. I'm sorry.
We apologize,
1, 2,
but
3.
we have to make it very
apologize.
fast. Thank you.
So, sir. Yes, sir.
Can I stand here? Okay. Thank you very much for this opportunity. And mine is not so much a question, but as much as maybe it's a suggestion and a sort of contribution. And what I'd like to say, first of all, let me introduce myself. I trained as an architect and I moved into engineering. And today I practice as a professor of IT in construction. So I'm very much into things like collaboration and all that kind of stuff. And what I've observed is all the panelists there have spoken from their different perspectives. And no discipline can deliver green or sustainable buildings alone. But how do you solve this problem? You talk about capacity. And I can tell you, as someone who has spent about 25 years in academia, you cannot train students in STEM to collaborate in industry. It doesn't make sense. It's like I like football. Arsenal fans, anyone? All right, so you'll be trained to be a defender by yourself. That's an architect. You've been trained to be a midfielder. That's a QS. One day you just come together in industry and you just form a club. It doesn't work like that. So this silo thing we're talking about, I think the best way to destroy it, because we need to destroy it, is the way we train our young professionals. You cannot be studying architecture for 6 years. You've never worked with a quantity surveyor. You've never worked with a builder. You've never worked with a mechanical engineer. And then all of a sudden, you want to come to industry and deliver a green building. It's not going to happen. And secondly, I would like to follow up with what the gentleman, the facility manager, said. Well, I'm based in the UK, London South Bank University. And if you're familiar with the UK approach, sustainability is part of their digital delivery. They have something called the soft landings strategy. What this means is transition, like a plane landing into the ground is soft landing. When you buy a Hitachi air condition, or you buy a Toyota, Toyota is interested in you. They will maintain that car. They want you to bring it to Toyota. You don't want to take it to one Chukwemeka, the roadside guy. It's a brand new Toyota. It's not Tokumbo like my own. You see? But we will design buildings, we'll construct them, and then we give it to strangers. So we need to have that soft landing. So what they've done is they have a way of making sure those who design the buildings, those who construct it, will partake in the maintenance of that building for at least 3 years so that they can see who else will correct the mistake. I'm not talking about defects liability now. It's all about getting the architects being involved in managing the building before you now bring in other people who can take over in the long term. So in summary, what I'm trying to say is we need to have a radical change in the way we think about sustainable buildings. It's not going to happen simply by taking EDGE certification. If you train in a silo, you will operate and behave in silo, and you'll be adversarial for the rest of your life.
Thank you very much. I think another approach towards that is we can also have the facility manager be a part of the design team so that when the project is completed, you can hand it over to him. So in that way, we can have a sustainable building management system. So the next question.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cynthia Oluchi. So since we are talking about professional leadership, we have an architect here who does the design. We have engineer who does the design. We have the QS who does the cost analysis, and then we have the facility manager who takes care, as he said, they are the doctors. They take care of the finished product. So now, my question is, since we are talking about built environment, if we are to mention 5 key players in the built environment, you cannot remove a builder from the built environment. And then all the professionals will be mentioning, I have not heard builders. So where do you place the builders? And I'm a female builder. So they do the designing. We need somebody to implement, to bring it to reality. And that's where we come. There is nothing to take care of if there is no building to take care of for a facility manager to take care of if the building is not standing, and we are the one that make it stand.
Okay, thank you very much. So builders are always passionate when it comes to their responsibility, and they feel they are being segregated. So I don't know who would our architects Sorry, we didn't. Builders are not part of this panel. They are not within, or they are not in this panel. But nevertheless, it's not. That's not to mean we've segregated them. Your work is still your work, and nobody's taking it from you. And that's the collaboration we are talking about.
Well, to answer your question, if it's a question, it seems to me it's an observation, though. I would say from an architect's point of view that the architect is the most liberal team player in this game, actually. Because we don't start as architects and end the whole process as architects. We involve the quantity surveyor, we involve the engineers. Of course, the builders are at the center of the construction. But while you were making the comment, I saw Professor Batagarawa chipped in to say that the green builder. So, female builder. And my president made an observation that it's a never-ending cycle, actually. So, but it's interesting. My colleague over there, actually, the need for collaboration and synergy among professionals and the professional association, it's a very important thing to look at. There is an active collaboration on one-on-one basis on our projects. Perhaps what we should dwell on and focus on majorly now is the collaboration between the associations and the institutes within the built industry, and that is the best way to ensure that all the figures that we are seeing by the year 2026, by the year 2030, actually can be achievable and possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. So we'll take the last question.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
My name is Goodness Osasi Hanere. And as a environmental sustainability activist or advocate, and knowing fully well that sustainability has to do with how our action now can advance the future, and knowing fully well that sustainability cannot be achieved by an individual, though we all have a role that we all play to achieving sustainability. And you made mention about collaboration. So I have a question on what model of collaboration exists between policymakers, engineers, urban planner, architects, and even the private sector towards achieving sustainable infrastructure while utilizing the already great infrastructure such as the roads and building with green infrastructure that we aim to achieve while driving towards sustainable development and sustainable cities.
That's it. So I think that's a wonderful question. Collaboration.
I think you would take the response, or I would advise you take the response as a closing remark, because each and every stakeholder that you have on the panelist, yes, is involved. But before we take that, we just want to take a comment from Professor Amina. I'm going to give her 45 seconds, and I'm going to start timing.
Good morning. I was just thinking about all the comments, and the simple answer for me is building information modeling, because it actually brings everybody together at the beginning of the design, throughout, down to doctor. So everybody, you're doing your design, you're telling the model, this is a wall, and this wall is made of this material, down to where the manufacturer and all the specifications. So everybody is working in tandem right from the beginning. And we're getting rid of this who's boss, mentality. Is truly, just like London South Bank said. And there's a theory behind it. It's called the integrated approach. So the integrated approach is different from the traditional approach where it's a linear line. This is more circular, and everybody gets to have a say right from the beginning.
So thank you very much.
You hold me 25 seconds back.
As a closing remark, we are all going to respond to that question. Ma, you talked about the BIM. Then my own question is, where do you now place the policymakers who are, especially decision makers, in the BIM system? So no, we would have, starting from Dr. Olumide, so to that question, how do we involve policymakers, everybody coming together, looking at current existing infrastructure, such that we can now infuse sustainability?
Okay, I think for the policymakers, it's just through collaboration, but now it's going to be enforcing some of the policies that are available, because Nigeria is one of the few countries that we have a lot of policies, acts, laws that, and when you don't enforce them, they are just sitting down there. So if we can, be more intentional with them and also create a self-regulatory approach. And I'm talking to professional bodies now. Self-regulatory approach, I said the architects are like a court. Once they've agreed on a pathway, this is how they work, you can't change them. Talk to 50 architects, they will tell you the same thing. So if you can try that and work with the policymakers too, that this is the approach at which we want to work. This is how we want to drive it. How can you come in to help in terms of enforcement? I'll give a typical example. Lagos State Safety Commission, they are responsible for the management, the safety aspect of lifts in Lagos. And there was an incident in one of a friend's place. I was there. We were trapped in a lift for over an hour. So I had to call somebody at the commission. They came there, they had to shut down the lift and ensure that they gave them a checklist of the required maintenance they need to have, the maintenance history, spares, source of spares, and all those kind of things. And the guys that were there, they were actually not facility managers, they were people that built and they were still managing. And I said, why do we have to go through all this stress now? Is it not just to fix this thing? I said, the commission is helping you to ensure that nobody loses his life while using this lift. So all those checklists, those requirements, those documentations is going to help you to align. By the time you follow the maintenance regime, you have a plan, you follow it to the letter, hardly will you have any incident that will lead to somebody losing his life. So in that kind of, we can partner with them, we can work with them such that we'll be able to meet up with all those basic requirements. So is it the building code, the national building code? It's just a document that is there. We all know it's just there. So how do we enforce it to carry ourselves as professionals that this building code, we want to ensure that it is functional, that it is enforceable, in the scheme of things. And with that, gradually, it may be slow initially, but gradually we'll move from point A to point B. And we'll also check back, keep records, because we don't know how to keep records in this part of the world. We also look at our incremental successes, and we also make noise about our incremental successes, share to the world. This is what we have achieved between 6 months, between 1 year when we started this program. And everybody will see the traction that we've progressed. And that in itself is encouraging. That in itself will bring more innovation, and also to reward good practices. We need to reward ourselves, good practices, things that we are doing well, encourage ourselves. It's not just about award, financial reward, support, grants. We only see grants in beauty pageants and all those things. Give grants to professionals too, for the lot of work that we are doing, is to encourage us to get it.
Thank you very much. So, Dr. Sunday Egbiki, so responding to our question, as an engineer, where do we fall in that collaboration? How can we make it possible?
Okay, quickly, I would just give like a 5 takeaway, 5 summary as a takeaway for everybody. First of all, 1, there is already a collaboration between all the professionals, because I have audited a lot of buildings. Where we want to audit, where we request for all the informations, all the design, we see the one from an architect, we see the one from a QS, we see the one from electrical engineer, mechanical engineers. So those are the information we use. So the issue they are saying there is no collaboration is because all of them are not sitting on the same table at the same time. and they may not really be able to sit on the same table at the same time. For example, the linear chain is supposed to be from land surveyor. We are omitting that. The land surveyor is supposed to give us the land use. Because of the edge we are using in Nigeria, there is no, they don't incorporate land use into the certification. That is why we are neglecting it. But if you go back to LEED, if you go back to GBNC, German rating system, they have that section. So we are neglecting that. So after that, come to the architect. The architect should give us the drawings and everything.
Bringing that idea of green building, bringing that idea of green building to reality, we looked at the areas that are important in keeping it to life by sustaining it. And then we discovered that it was important that we have the facility section, the construction section, the sustainability section as well. And then putting all of this group together. At that point, it is also important that one person cannot manage each of these sections. And so we made it a group of company. And so each of these subsections that I've just mentioned, we registered it as a company so that we address each concerns of all the professionals. So going to Jubra Green Homes, we're building a 96-unit housing at Kuje, 100% off national grid, and just by the Philomath University, just behind it. And everything about the green home is all certified, preliminary certified, and we have achieved 96% energy savings. And we're not just looking at achieving it at this preliminary stage, but we want to make it permanent and make it for life, whereby residents of that community will have nothing to bother about when it comes to their facilities there. Now, going to the facilities, we put in place the water conservation system whereby each resident pay for exactly what they consume. With what they consume in the sense that every residence will be metered, and so that you monitor what you consume. And when you monitor what you consume, you know what you're paying for. So this also goes to power. And in the aspect of power as well, each residence will be metered across the community. So you don't pay huge sum of money for facility management and you don't know what you're paying for. And so when each residence is metered, you'll be able to control the usage of power. And right behind here, the door behind is our booth. We have our team there who are going to answer all questions and address all concerns that we may all have. Thank you very much for your time, and God bless.
Thank you very much, Jubra Homes. They have a stand in the exhibition booth, like he had mentioned. Please do well to visit while you're here for the Future City Summit. Can we have the representative of Kula, Nigeria? Who's coming? Okay, thank you. I hear 3 minutes, not more. Please keep it brief and straight to the point.
Hi, everyone. My name is Eugene. I'm with Cola Company, representing Cola West Africa. I'm here to just present Cola's perspective or our contribution on sustainability in general. So we'll play the slide so we can just take from there. whilst they work on that, Cola is at the forefront of sustainability. We are in existence for over 150 years. We are in 151 years now. What does sustainability mean to Cola? For us, it comes right down from the design stage. We have something we call design for the environment, where we incorporate what sustainability should be from the get-go. Meaning, we are considering water usage, how products are going to, the wastage that is going to come out on products, and how we can also circulate all these things into something meaningful. We are doing our best in so many areas with regards to how the products save water, how the process of production also saves water, and how the impact of our production in the various areas that we operate also is being regulated, making sure that the water tables in those areas are restored very well. We're doing great work in so many areas across India and other aspects. I'm really looking forward to this slides if they can do that for us. Are we good? Anyway, so whilst, just so we don't waste time, we have different users. I would want to address areas where it's very applicable.
Having you at the, that is for, sorry, let me just really confirm, so I don't need you. Breakout session 2 will happen right in this auditorium towards the back, and then breakout session 3, please, you'll be upstairs at the gallery, and for breakout 4 will happen at the meeting room on the upper floor in this facility, just on this other side. Please, I'll take that again. Breakout 1, there's a meeting room just by the other side of the exhibition hall there. Breakout 2 will happen here, breakout 3 upstairs, and then 4 at the other side. Thank you so much. Please, we can go for our break now. Thank you.
Take that.